10 key matches and dates that will help decide the Premier League title race. Just as the dust has begun to settle on last season, the Premier League fixtures for the 2022-23 campaign have been released, sparking renewed excitement over what lays in store. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City clinched a fourth Premier League title in 5 years in a rip-roaring season just gone, pipping Liverpool to the post by a solitary point. A dramatic 3-2 final day comeback win over Aston Villa saw City claim yet another crown as the Reds were left to look back at where it all went agonizingly wrong and wonder what if. Following the eagerly anticipated release of next season's Premier League schedule, Mirror Football take a closer look at what are expected to be the key encounters and where the league title could be won and lost. With City having added Erling Haaland to their ranks and Liverpool having acquired Darwin Núñez, the 2022-23 campaign already looks set to be bigger, better and more dramatic than ever before. The first eye-catching encounter for either of the two Premier League favourites arrives on matchday 3, and it's a Premier League classic. Having travelled to Fulham on the opening day of the season, before welcoming Crystal Palace to Anfield in Week 2, Liverpool should be nicely warmed up for their trip to Old Trafford to renew rivalries with old foes Manchester United on the weekend of August 20. The Reds humiliated United 5-0 in this fixture last season, but the Red Devils have been handed renewed hope following the appointment of Erik ten Hag to the helm. The matchup should, on paper, provide the first big test for Liverpool, who risk seeing City establish an early advantage in the Premier League title race should they slip up to United. Who do you think will win the Premier League in 2022-23 season? Let us know in the comments below. Following what looks to be a fairly straightforward opening 6 fixtures, City's first big test is scheduled for matchday 7, when Guardiola's side welcome Antonio Conte's Tottenham to the Etihad. City will have good reason to be wary of this one after the enthralling events of last season. Spurs did the double over the men from Manchester, which included a last-gasp Harry Kane-inspired 3-2 win on City's own patch. Guardiola will be well aware that his side could establish a commanding lead atop the Premier League's summit in the early stages of the season, and the Spaniard will be determined to avoid hitting a bump in the road when their bogey team from North London visit. Fans won't have to wait too long to see the Premier League's top 2 face-off next season as the first mouth-watering clash between Liverpool and City arrives in mid-October. The pair played out 2 Premier League classics when they met last season, with both contests finishing in 2-2 draws. Liverpool will look back on those 2 encounters as crucial in determining the outcome of the Premier League title race, so they will be hoping to get the better over their almighty rivals this time around. With an impassioned Anfield crowd behind them, Klopp's side will be desperate to take advantage on their home turf. The Liverpool clash forms part of a nightmare October calendar for City, which also includes meetings with United and Arsenal. Following an unprecedented month hiatus between mid-November and mid-December to accommodate the World Cup in Qatar, the Premier League fixtures return thick and fast on Boxing Day. City in particular appear set to be put to the test over the festive period, as late December encounters against Leeds and Everton are followed up by a trying trip to Stamford Bridge. Guardiola's side are provisionally penciled in to travel to Chelsea on Monday 2 January for the third match of a mightily busy 7 days. With the demands of the World Cup and the clustered Christmas calendar expected to take their toll, Guardiola's side should certainly be challenged, as the Spaniard may well be forced to rely on his substantial squad depth. This one could be decisive. The big games keep on coming for City in the new year. The crunch match with Chelsea is followed up by FA Cup commitments before Guardiola's side face the small matter of the Manchester Derby. City travel to Old Trafford on the weekend of January 14, intent on once again overcoming their fierce City rivals and continuing an expected assault on the title. While Guardiola's side comfortably dispatched United in the pair's 2 Premier League encounters last campaign, United could well be a very different proposition under Ten Hag. These ones are also tasty. Liverpool will be keen to capitalise on any potential City slip-ups in January, especially as their run of fixtures following the Premier League's resumption looks favourable. The Reds face Villa, Leicester, Brentford, and Brighton from Boxing Day onwards before another blockbuster matchup. Klopp's side welcome Chelsea to Anfield in late January in what is expected to be another crucial contest. Liverpool drew both matches against the Blues last season, so will be well aware that 3 points in this fixture will be a significant boost. With City potentially having slipped up against Chelsea or United earlier in the month, this one could prove key in the title race. As the Premier League season effectively enters the home straight, Liverpool and City will once again lock horns in one of the biggest matches of the 2022-23 campaign. If last season is anything to go by, expect the two Premier League titans to be neck and neck at this stage as the title race ramps up. The pair played out an exhilarating 2-2 draw at the Etihad last season, and on home turf, City will be looking to hold the edge over their opponents. Both Liverpool and City were in relentless form towards the end of last season, so this one could prove to be one of few opportunities for a late title race twist next campaign. Matchday 33 arguably serves up one of the most eye-catching sets of fixtures in the 2022-23 Premier League calendar. Sandwiched between two jam-packed weekends of Premier League action, both City and Liverpool face challenging contests. While the Reds are tasked with a tricky trip to West Ham, City welcome Arsenal to the Etihad. With just a handful of matches left to play at this stage, neither side will likely be able to afford dropping points. Could Guardiola's former apprentice Mikel Arteta play a part in derailing City's title charge in the closing stages? A matter of days after Liverpool's midweek matchup with West Ham, Klopp's side face another contest with London opponents in the form of Tottenham. The Reds slipped up to Spurs with a 1-1 draw at Anfield in the late stages of the season just gone, a result which proved costly in hindsight. Klopp's side will be desperate to avoid another setback so late in the season against Conte's men next campaign as they look to disrupt City's dominance by claiming a second Premier League crown in 4 years. This fixture proved decisive in determining the destination of the Premier League trophy last season. Will history repeat itself next time around? A run of 12 Premier League games unbeaten at the end of the 2021-22 campaign proved key in City clinching yet another league crown as Guardiola's side made the most of what on paper was a favourable run-in. However, City won't be afforded such luxury next campaign. Before bringing the curtain down on their Premier League campaign with a trip to Brentford, City face the daunting prospect of welcoming Chelsea to the Etihad. Should Guardiola's men find themselves neck and neck with Liverpool, who face Villa and Southampton in their final two in the Premier League standings, the pressure could well and truly be on when the Blues visit. City may well find that anything less than 3 points over Thomas Tuchel's side could see them relinquish their stronghold on the Premier League title.